evening, my lords and ladies, and welcome to another animated look back. You ever have those moments where you think, man, I was a dumb kid? Well, those moments usually happen for me when I rewatch stuff that I liked as a kid and realizing it's not that great. The three things that I'm most ashamed of for loving as a kid are Batman and Robin, The Warriors of Virtue, and this movie, Quest for Camelot. I mean, wow. This cannot be the same movie I saw as a kid. I could not have liked something like this. Could I? I remember thinking this show was funny. It is not. I remember thinking how it was such a great thing to have a lead character who was a woman and was so strong and independent. She is not. I remember liking the songs. Yeah, not so much anymore. And I remember that I thought the villain was menacing.
Things, scary.
Oh my gosh, what is wrong with past me? But, okay, let's not try to be negative. Let's try to view this movie with the pros and cons approach that I do for any other movie. And let's talk about the good things and the bad things about it. So, this is my animated look-back review of Quest for Camelot. So our story is about this young girl named Kaylee. Her father was a knight at Arthur's Round Table, and of course she dreams and longs to be a knight herself. But her father dies because somebody in an animated movie in the 90s having both parents? Oh, very ridiculous. He's killed by an ex-knight named Ruber, who they really should have done some background checks on him before making him a knight, I'm just saying. And he goes away for many years and then comes back with a dastardly plan and has a pet griffin steal Excalibur, and the griffin accidentally drops it in the Forbidden Forest. Kaylee goes off to find it while Ruber kidnaps her mother, trying to work her into his scheme to take Camelot. And so Kaylee comes across this blind hermit named Garrett, and she and Garrett and their pet falcon named Aiden have to try to find the sword Excalibur in the Forbidden Forest, while Ruber and his mechanical weapon-fused henchmen are also after it. Oh, and a chicken called Bladebeak, but that's neither here nor there. And of course, hijinks ensue along the way. So let's start with the all-important question, how's the animation? Actually, it's okay. I struggle to say good, but it's not bad. At the very least, not bad in the ways that I would normally poke at. The backgrounds are very well drawn, the locations look really nice. Heck, the Forbidden Forest it has this wonderful feel of both creepy and magical at the same time, so it has a really nice feel in that sense. The character designs, for the most part, are actually pretty good as well. I mean, sure, Kaylee's design is a complete ripoff of Beauty and the Beast, but beyond that, they're still alright. Everyone except for the villain, who I think is a little bit over the top. But I think the biggest problem with the animation is, A, every now and again we get this 3D style of animation thrown into the mix that doesn't blend well. I mean, like we get this awful 3D looking ogre.
What are you doing in my swamp?
Yeah, it really stands out. It doesn't really blend into the film. I mean, like, movies can do this well. I've already talked in the past before. Spirit, Treasure Planet, both of those, for the most part, with some scenes here and there maybe looking out of place, can blend the 3D and 2D animations together. Where this one, every time I see 3D, it stands out, doesn't blend in, and it really kind of takes me out of the moment where I'm not experiencing the movie. I'm thinking about, oh, I wonder why they did that style of animation there. But B, the other problem is that the lip-syncing doesn't always fit. I mean, look at the song and look at the people and see if the lip-syncing matches with what the characters are singing.
Wait, let's watch the lip sync, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, it looks a little off. And I feel that way about the whole film. The lip syncing, well, I guess I would say the majority of the time works well enough, but there are moments where I'm like, is that how the character says it? It doesn't really feel like the way the lips are moving are with the same in terms of how the mouth is moving. Yeah. Look, I don't even know how they do lip syncing in animation. I don't even know how that even works. I just know when it's not working, and it's not always working in this film. And then there's this film's editing. Now, normally at this point I would go into the pacing and how it feels off or something if it was a bad movie, but actually I think the pacing is fine. I don't really think there's anything really wrong with the pacing because the pace of this movie is pretty straightforward. Heroes go on journey, there's quiet moments, there's action moments, there's romantic moments, and, then there's the big climax at the end. In terms of pace, it handles it fine. I won't say that the elements that they're handling is fine, but it's like a juggler. He's juggling sloppy, but he's not dropping any of the balls. So the pace isn't that bad, but the editing, that is the main problem in this film. First of all, it doesn't really know how to time its comedy or really how to cut its movie. For example, we have this scene. Garrett is just coming out of his big musical number, and Kaylee asks if he can come along, and it has a weird transition.
I just need your help this once.
All right. But don't give me any trouble. Oh, it's a fine mess you've gotten us into, Aiden.
Whoa. We were just on a mountain. When did we go back into the forest? There should have been a dissolve to show that some time has passed. With it going from the top of the mountain to directly into this forest, it feels like it's supposed to happen right after. Look, I know they're trying to play it up for comedy. Oh, just don't be into trouble. And oh, look at all the trouble she's being. But one, it wasn't that funny. And two, it's just more this distracting. Because it looks like they just teleported to the woods. I'm on top of the mountain and what the heck just happened? And the film is filled with scenes like that are just editing mistakes. Where, for example, we're just in our movie, the scenes are going back and forth, and all of a sudden this scene happens.
When I get my hands on that girl.
What was the point of that? I think we know he's after. You don't need to remind us, oh yeah, there's a bad guy in this movie. And the film is filled with scenes like that just really show that the editing in this movie was not handled that well. But the main thing, I guess, is if the characters are interesting. So let's get into that. Let's start with Garrett, played by Carrie Elway. He is actually one of the more interesting elements of the film. He is a blind hermit, and he's living in the Forbidden Forest with his pet hawk, Aiden. I think it's actually pretty cool to have a blind character kick so much butt, but he's kind of bland. He's pretty much just a stick in the mud. He's pretty bland, he doesn't really have any funny moments, doesn't really have that much of a romantic connection with the main lead. Plus, they don't really do anything with the guy's blindness. It's just something that he has, but it doesn't really seem to affect him or anything. There are moments that should be a big obstacle for him. There's this point where they have to cross this, acid pool, and not only does Kaylee, let go and leave him behind, but he jumps from, rock to rock over this acid pool without being able to see where he's going. And it's not like he's tapping, okay, there's the rock, now jump. He's just jumping. I'm like, you're blind, right? You shouldn't be able to see where you're going. This should have been a moment where he had to put his trust in somebody. He's been a hermit, he's out on his own, he doesn't need anybody else, he's been overcoming his blindness all these years, he doesn't need anyone else, and here's a moment where he finds himself in need of somebody else's help, and he has to accept that, and then you can have their connection grow stronger, because now they need each other. But no, he just magically hopscotches over it, even though he's blind. Overall, this kind of feels like a wasted opportunity. Most of the rest of this film is pretty by the book in terms of animated movie. This is the one adventurous element that they can say, hey, we have an animated movie with a blind person in it that can relate to other people in maybe not the same situations, but similar situations, and that they can, it's like the one big thing they have it, but it doesn't really affect him. He never has to overcome it. If you were not told in this movie that this guy was blind, there would be nothing in the film to tell you that he's blind. There's actually a moment where he says, nobody travels through the Forbidden Forest at night. I'm like, you're blind! How would you know? Sure, blind people can probably tell by the temperature drop what type of day it is, but how would he know exactly that it's starting to get dark? It seems like a bit of a far-fetched thing. Moving on, for comic relief we have, well, 3, kind of. First we have this chicken played by former Steve Urkel actor Jaleel White. And the other 2 comic relief is a 2-headed dragon played by Don Rickles and Eric Idle. I guess these characters are supposed to be funny, but I have no idea why! I mean, I guess they have movie quotes.
You looking at me?
But that's about it. I mean, come on, first of all, you already ripped up Belle's design for your main character, I get it. But you are seriously having to also rip off Robin Williams' Genie with this stuff? You know what the funny thing about Robin Williams' Genie, which made it so genius, is the fact that even though he was quoting stuff, it was still funny if you didn't get the reference. Like, I had no idea what he was meaning when he's like, I can't believe it, I'm losing to a rug. I had no idea who Rodney Dangerfield was, but as I grew up and I found out, yeah, I'm like, oh, okay, that makes it even more funny. But I still laughed at it originally, even though I had no idea what it was. With here, you're not even making references, you're just quoting the movie. And also, why are you quoting movies like Taxi Driver and Dirty Harry? Really? These are the movies you think the kids have seen lately? To be fair, the Dragons did have one joke that made me laugh.
What are you?
Well, frankly, we're the reason cousins shouldn't marry.
I'll admit it, that was pretty funny. But beyond that, there are really no laughs in this film. Unless you're laughing at how ridiculously stupid some of the things are in this film, like the villain. Let's get on to that next. Rhubarb is played by Gary Oldman, and I'm sorry, Gary, but this is one of the worst villains I have ever seen. This is the type of villain that I hate. He is bad just for the sake of being bad, and he enjoys being called bad.
You're mad.
I'm so glad you noticed.
I mean, come on, that sounds like a Care Bear villain, not like a serious bad guy that wants to take over an entire kingdom. His design is way too over the top, and his voice acting sounds like he's being kicked in the balls multiple times.
No, that's not the girl!
Not to mention that his plans are stupid. I mean, in the beginning of the movie, his plan is just to rush up and grab Excalibur and kill the king. I mean, what would he have done if his plan had succeeded? Ha ha! I have now killed the king, and now all will serve me because I am the... Heck, even when he has the Griffin on his side, his plan's the same. Run up, grab the sword, and leave! Now, he gets a potion that allows him to combine any weapon with his henchmen, and they turn into these metal monstrosity creatures with weapons attached to their limbs, and it's a pretty cool idea. And actually, it makes his minions look pretty cool. I mean, that's some pretty cool design. But in terms of villainy, that's the only interesting thing he has going for him. Oh, I forgot. Then there is his singing.
Let's go back to war and violence. I'm so bored with peace and silence! Nights of evil filled with fear. Your worst dream, that's my idea.
Excuse me a moment.
Let darkness find its sad ways. Let's go back to good old bad days. No more foolish acts of kindness. Arthur and his kingdom will be mine. Years from now, no one will bother to recall your good King Arthur, because all of this will be mine. This will all be mine. I have a plan. It includes you. You, Juliana, will lead me to Camelot, where I will claim all that is mine. In the back of your wagons, my men will all hide. You'll sit up front as the gates open wide. Now watch me create my mechanical army with pride.
Why is this in here? What is the point? And then the birds are falling in love with this dog? What? Ugh, I just find her annoying, and I find her song irritating. Shut up! What are you doing? What am I doing? What? I said, shut up! You can't complain about this song. Whoa, 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 what? Let me ask you something. Is the singer in tune? I guess so. Can the singer sing? Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's Bette Midler. You have nothing to complain about! You don't even know pain! But you will. You will! Sheesh, what's up my butt? Note to self. Don't review movies that piss you off. There we go. That should do it. Now, where were we? What do I know? Plus, work out more and eat healthier. I wish I read this one a while ago. Now, I can, without a doubt, say that this is the worst song I have ever heard on Animated Look Back. That is right. The worst song I've ever heard on Animated Look Back. And you know what that means? It's time to hand out your award! Congratulations, Quest for Camelot! You got the worst song in Animated Look Back History Award until I find something worse. Congratulations, you legitimately sting! Oh, dang it! Dang nabbit! I'm not even joking. I mean, the beat is just monotonous tune of honestly, I can't remember what it was because I erased it from my memory. But it's just this annoying little beat, just going over and over and over again. The singing is so off-key, it's not even funny, and it's off-tune. It's off-key and off-tune at the same time because he's singing like this, and the beat's not matching the way with he's singing. It's like, I will go into Camelot, blah, 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 and the beat is not even catching up with him. To mention that the biggest problem is Gary Oldman can't sing! At least not in this movie! I find it humorous, actually no, hilarious that almost everybody in this film has a second voice actress for singing, you know? There is the speaking voice and then the singing voice, except for Gary Oldman. The one guy in this cast that I'm saying can probably not sing at the note, at least not in this movie, is the only guy who gets to be the one that doesn't have a voice actress sing for them. Now that being said, all of the songs are either bad, out of place, or pointless. The song that's probably the best, The Prayer, sung by Celine Dion, is, you know, it's a nice tune, it's a nice melody, it's a nice hopeful thing. The problem is it's placed over a chase scene! I mean, listen to this song. It sounds like it should be played over a calm and peaceful moment. But no, let's put it over a chase scene. Yeah, this fits. The next best song is probably Gary's song, I Stand Alone. It has a nice tune, and the voice actor who's singing it can sing, and it's, you know, well done. The only problem is it's pointless. The guy singing like, I stand alone, I don't work with nobody, I don't work with nobody. Hey, you want to work together? Okay, let's do it. What? Come on!
Like every tree stands on its own, reaching for the sky, I stand alone. I share my world with no one else. All by myself, I stand alone.
I mean, the song is literally about how he doesn't work together with anybody, and then at the end of the song, he decides to work with Kaylee. So it makes the entire song pointless! If I Didn't Have You is a complete ripoff of A Friend Like Me, and, no, the other one was worse. Either way, it's not funny, it's not good, and the animation isn't really that impressive. Kaylee's empowerment song? Honestly, I can't remember it. I honestly can't. Same with her love song with Garrett. Boring, pointless, forgettable, don't remember what it was. Moving on. But now we come to Kaylee herself. And I'll admit, it was rare in the year this movie came out, 1998, for an animated movie to come out about a woman. A woman who is also strong, independent, learns how to fight, and become a force for her own gender, and goes on a journey to find out who she really is. And that person I'm, of course, talking about is Mulan, who came out the same year. And you faced Mulan against Kaylee? Oh boy, we got a winner over here! But I've already done a review on Mulan, so let's talk about Kaylee. Her character arc is that she wants to become a knight, so she goes on a journey and becomes a knight. What was that? Did she learn anything? I guess she learned she talks too much.
Wow, this is all your fault.
My fault.
Yes. If we hadn't stopped,
Quiet.
we should have kept going.
Shh.
I have to save my mother.
Please. I need to hear.
I'm sorry. It's all my fault you were hurt. I was rattling on when I should have been quiet.
Yeah, how dare you talk all the time? Woman, just sit in the corner and be quiet. Okay, that's not a great way to phrase it. But yeah, that's really all she learns. I mean, they have a thing where he's like, oh, you gotta wait for your right moment, you know, and everything. But I think that's really more, it's not really a character thing. That's how they're gonna defeat the bad guy in the end. That's something that relates to that, but it doesn't really relate to her as a character for waiting for her moment. She was already waiting all the time. I think her biggest problem is she doesn't really have any feats of strength throughout this movie. You see, it was at this time that, even though we were coming out of the 90s, we really didn't know how to write... Okay, let's be honest here. Guys didn't really know how to write strong women characters. So this resulted in female leads that would talk like guys in the fact that, oh, I'm going to be putting up a great fight, I'm going to be such a great knight and everything, but they were still treated like damsels of distress in their own story. I mean, how many times does Garrett get kidnapped in this movie? 0. How many times does Kaylee get kidnapped in this movie? Twice! Who's the main character here? I mean, Garrett gets to fight and do cool things and, you know, hits a log and knocks the guy into a pool and everything. And that's cool because he's a guy. What does Kaylee do? She trips a guy and she rides a log and knocks a guy over. That's it. Oh, and she runs away a lot and gets captured. But it isn't just that she doesn't fight. A character doesn't need to be a fighter to be a good character. I mean, Belle doesn't fight in her movie, and that doesn't make her a bad character. Kaylee's main problem is she's just a weak character. I mean, she says how she wants to be a great knight, but she's always asking permission from other people rather than taking control and taking things into her own hands. She asks her mom, oh, why can't I be a knight? Instead of just going off and trying to be a knight. She asks Garrett, oh, why can't I come along? Instead of just saying, I'm coming with you, whether you want to me along or not. When the dragons want to come along, Garrett's like, oh, no, they're not coming. And she's like, oh, please, I'll be your friend. Why doesn't she say, look, they're coming with me to find Excalibur. You can come with us or not, but, you know, it's up to you. I mean, that's what a strong character would do. But no, she's always asking for permission and saying how she's going to be the world's greatest knight while leaving next to no impact on the audience. I think that another one of the film's biggest problems is we don't really see what the big deal over Excalibur is. I mean, I wasn't a fan of that new King Arthur movie, but at the very least they showed that it was a powerful sword and was something that definitely you wanted to keep your hands on. Or in this movie, I see some magic light coming from it from here, but that's about it. I mean, we don't really see any other magic come out of it till the end when it gets stuck in the stone, and I mean, arguably, you could say that it was almost the stone that did that since the magic didn't come out of it till it was stuck in the stone. Oh, a quick question. This is just that, why did the dragons decide to go back together? Okay, I mean, this is just a little thing, but even as a kid, this bothered me. All they're talking about is how they'd be better off without each other. And then they're like, oh, okay, well, let's stay together. I'm like, no, why are we, you were just talking about all this time how you wanted to be split apart from each other. Now you're like, no, let's stay together. I'm like, seriously? Seriously? I know that even the most conjoined twins that actually like each other would probably still like to be separate from each other if the opportunity presented itself. Excalibur doesn't come across as something that's that powerful. I mean, seriously, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal. Overall, Quest for Camelot is a film that's copying a lot of the Disney tropes, but doesn't really have the same feel. It doesn't have the songwriters or composers that they had. It doesn't have the voice actors that they had. Actually, I think maybe a couple of the voice actors in this film were also in Disney movies. But my point is they don't have the voice quality that they had. They don't have the type of animation that they had. Overall, it feels like it's trying so hard to be Disney and yet coming so short. So my final rating for Quest for Camelot is a 3 out of 10. It's a bad movie. Not even my nostalgia for this movie could save me from the fact from noticing its bad villain, its amazingly unfunny comedy, its boring characters, and remember the worst song I've ever heard on Animated Look Back. But on the positive side, the animation is pretty good, the pacing is good, and, you know, it does set up stuff for happening later on in its own movie. I've seen worse movies than this, but this is not a movie that I would ever enjoy watching again. Honestly, I might have even rated this movie a 4 or a 5 if it didn't have those really, really bad elements in the film. This movie wasn't dead on arrival, but let's just say it's time to put the sword back in the stone. Thanks for watching, everybody. I am Lazerdude, and be sure to join me on my next Animated Look Back when I review... Time to get away from these crappy movies and go on to something good. Hello, Pixar! Here I come.